Hello, Ms. Morales. My name is Dominique Baker. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, thank you. Tell me a little bit about why you're here today.
I'm here today to talk about the stressful environment in my job.
Okay, can you elaborate a little bit?
I just feel as though my job expects their workers to do more than what we should, especially when we're working with clients that feel as though they don't need to do anything that we are trying to help them with.
Okay, so it sounds like you're a little frustrated. It seems as if no matter what you do to help and assist your clients, it's just not good enough in their eyes.
Yeah, they always want us to do more for them, or they say that we're not doing enough for them, or if we try to help them better themselves as a parent, they feel as though they don't need help being a parent. They just want to have their kids back and call it a day.
Okay, I can understand how that can be a little draining. In what ways does it stress you out? Does it affect, how
I
you
try my
work?
best not to take my job home with me, but it's a constant thing that I'm constantly looking at my work phone, trying to figure out what I have to be prepared for the next day, if I have to go to court and all that stuff. And it gets to a point where you could get like 5, 10 phone calls when you're at home thinking that you're done working, and you'll get a phone call from your supervisor or a phone call from police saying that something else happened with one of your cases, or that you have to have this done and you have to show up to court to pick up this kid and stuff like that. And it just gets a little overwhelming because you're thinking that you're off, but you have to go right back into work mode and drop everything that you're doing to pick up a kid and stuff like that. So that's just the only thing that really bothers. And also getting all the documents that you need. If you have a case that came from another state, that's a lot of work to do within itself, because
Mhm.
the other state has a problem with helping us, get their documents. And it's like, well, why do you need it? Who are you exactly? And you have to send over a whole bunch of documents just to get one piece of paper back. So they also hold up, everything.
Okay. So you mentioned that you try not to take your work home with you. Um, how often do you let that affect you being home?
Um, I constantly bring my computer home with me just so I can have it there in case there's an emergency that I need to pull something up real quick, and then I'll just send it over to my supervisor. But I try my best to leave it at work, so when I am at home, I know that I can't really do anything until work the next day. But there's been, for like the past month or so, there's every single day I've been taking my computer home with me because there's just so much more work to do and that needs to be done. So it's a lot.
Okay. So even though you try to separate the two, you bring your laptop home because there's just so much work to do in a short period of time.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
We always have deadlines.
Um, do you have any type of support at work as far as, being stressed about your deadlines?
I feel like more of my coworkers are more supportive than like I know some supervisors are really there for to try to help us out, but at the same time, I feel as though like the head directors really don't listen to what we have to say. Everything for them is, well, that's your job. You have to do it for your parents, and and that's what you signed up for, blah blah blah. But at the same time, it's like they don't know what we go through. They don't know how many times we get yelled at, cursed at, called names that we never even heard before, and we just deal a lot with the grown adults that mentally, or like that seem like they are very childish, and we always have to
Hmm.
deal with that all the time. And then we get in trouble if we try talking to the parents or talk to them in a way like it's for them to realize that nobody's playing around with them, and nobody's taking away their kids just because we want to. No,
Right.
we're trying to do everything that we can to help them get reunified with their kids, but they sit there and they'll call us everything in the book, but when they need us, then it's like they're all sweet to us, like if they never just called us, everything the next day. So like at the same time, I just hate like our director. Not that I hate our director, I just hate the fact that there's little to no support. We need like moderate to high. Everything can't always be our supervisor, and even though they always tell us go to our supervisors now can only do but so much. And that's just where more stress comes about, because then we have a parent who is calling corporate or going up the ladder and they're trying to bash us, but at the same time we have to sit there and just say okay and still help them with everything that they need. So that's the only bad thing.
Okay. So it sounds like you're saying because the director, um, he doesn't do the type of work that you do. He doesn't really
Mm-hmm.
understand, um, your stress, the clients that you deal with, the way they talk to you, being disrespectful, cursing you. You just don't believe that he understands where you're coming from.
Right.
Okay.
And even though he has meetings, they'll do like a once a month or twice a month, like a meeting here with all of us. And even though it's our time to say how we feel, it's like it just goes in one ear out the other because nothing really changes.
And other than your coworkers that you mentioned earlier about support, do you have any other type of support as far as the stress that you have when dealing with work?
Well, I try to hang out. Well, yeah, I try to like remove myself from work mode. I'm never really home. I try to like just be out with friends or family, away from try to get away from it all as possible, as much as possible. Uh, on my days off, I try to use my weekends to try to like just not think about work. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I say my family and friends are some people like the main ones that have helped me. They keep telling me, I know that the job is tough because they hear it from me all the time, but they just keep telling me to just hold on until something else comes up.
Okay. So it sounds like you have a good support system when it comes to your family and
Hmm.
friends.
Yeah.
Is there any other type of ways that you try to relieve stress from your job, exercising?
Well, I used to do exercising, but financially it was just not all there. But like I said, I like to go when I best as I can. I start vacationing more, so I try to go like either somewhere in Florida, but like far away from my Orlando area, or like I'll go to the beach, hang out at the pool, just try to do fun things I've never done before, so I can just stop like thinking about work and not sitting there with my work phone. I try to like leave it as far as away as I can.
So it seems that you do as much as you can to stay stress free.
I try because especially with this job, you have to be mentally. I feel like you have to be mentally able to just like separate it from your personal life. And even though there's sometimes that you're not able to do it because you're just constantly thinking about a lot, I feel as though there is a way to do it, and that's just like keeping your mind occupied with other things besides work.
Do you enjoy your job?
I enjoy my job as far as helping kids. Like, that's the only reason why I chose to be a case manager and all that stuff. But when it comes to dealing with the kids' parents, is what makes the job that much more difficult, because kids are one thing, kids make mistakes, especially like the younger ones. I mean, the older ones, I feel like they should already know their right from wrong, but because of being raised with parents who really don't know how to teach them the right way,
Mhm.
that's why they fall that's why they fall into like the juvenile justice system the way that they do. Now, kids who are from newborns up to like the age of 10 that are going through this whole process, I feel as though they need the most help from us as case managers. Not saying that all of them don't, but I feel like they are more dependent on us than, the teenagers, because teenagers are already old enough. The little kids, yeah, they kind of get the idea of what's going on. They know they can't be with mom and dad or in the same house, but they really don't know why it happened. They just live in their life and they need help the most out of all of them, I feel. And at the end of the day, I just know if I'm helping my younger kids or all my kids in general, I know that I'm doing my job.
Mhm.
Because not saying I could care less about the parents. It's not that I could care less about the parents. I just will always fight for those parents who actually show and do what they have to do for the kids than those who give excuses as to why they haven't completed something or as to why they can't go do something. And it's like, no, there's really no excuse why you can't do this for your kid.
Right.
Yeah.
So it seems that like you're a big advocate for the children,
Mm-hmm.
Especially the younger ones that, what I'm hearing, are more vulnerable
Right.
and don't understand the situations that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it seems like you are there for the parents as well, but for the ones that, are willing to do what they need to do to get their children back.
Yeah.
But it's the ones that are not really willing
I have one.
to do
Yeah.
what they are willing to do, or the ones that give you a hard time where the stress comes in.
Mm-hmm. Because I have one parent that has done everything that they need to do, and she's been just how do you say the word? She's been relapsing on one issue, and it's really holding her back from getting her kids again. And then I have another mom who thinks that she knows it all, and she doesn't want to hear nothing from nobody. And it's like, great. So what do you want? Do you want help or not? So that's even more stress on me, because then I get looked at as if I'm not doing my job when I really am. Because then she's calling, then she makes it harder on me because she starts calling everybody on me saying that I'm not doing my job. And then that goes back to having the backup, because then my director or anybody that's higher up will say that I still have to help her, or I still have to make sure that I'm getting her services. So it's like that back and forth issue. But I just think about their kids and think about how much, like I care for about their kids. So I'm like, okay, just toss them to the side and think about their kids.
Okay. Do you have any ideas as far as what can make your workload um,
Less hectic?
less hectic? Yes.
Well, I just know that, especially in this job, the turning rate is a lot, and our maximum numbers that we're supposed to have is about 23 kids. And because our working ratio is so low, there's a lot of us with more than 25 kids. And I feel like every week I come into work, I have a new case, or a case reopens, or stuff like that. So it's like you can never really get caught up in this job. You can't. Like, there's no way of sitting down and be like, oh, I turned in all my stuff. Okay, cool. You turned in all your stuff. Great. Now look at this. Now you have this, and all this other stuff to do. But it's like you can never be caught up, because then you still have kids to see. You still have um, to call services to make sure that your parents are in their services and you're getting all the information. Then you gotta send the information to like the lawyer. So it's like you really can never say that you have nothing to do, because you always have something to do. So I feel as though with this job, not only do we need more workers, but we also need people that are gonna be willing to like stay, you know, stay and actually understand that yes, we understand that the parents are hard, but we're doing it for the kids. I know that a lot of us are literally just doing it for the kids. Like we always just do it for our kids, and even though we have our cases that really suck, like we just gotta keep doing it for them. But
That's very important. So to me, you mentioned, the stress within your job, but you enjoy the job. You're a huge advocate for the children, and no matter how difficult a parent may be or what deadlines you have to make, you're here for the children,
hmm
and that's what matters. And you continue to fight through working in case management because of the kids.
yeah,
It's not an easy job. So I understand your frustration.
I feel they're slowly but surely attempting to make things easier. But like since we drive a lot, like the company cars have been issued more, which helps relieve us with dishing out money for gas. And they also they try to do a good job with reimbursements on everything that are either our mileage or those with the company car. They try to help us out with all the tolls that we have to pay for. But sometimes it's just so inconvenient, like when, like I said, like you're just thinking that you're done for the day and you'll get a phone call saying that you have to drive 3 hours away to pick up a kid because he got kicked out of his placement, and then you have to wait with them in the office until they find a placement. Or you get a phone call from the juvenile detention center saying that you have a kid that's in there, and you're like, okay, and then they're like, oh yeah, they have court tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., and then you already have scheduled another court date, that you can't change. So it's like, great. Now you
Hmm.
have to scramble around trying to find people on your team or people that you work with to please cover something for you, because you can't be at two places at once. And then especially if one is in Orange County, the other one's in Seminole, it's like, what do I do? So the teamwork at the job is, especially throughout the units, has been very, consistent and steady. I just feel when it comes to the different caseloads and how the cases are actually brought onto the team and onto like the units, they don't take into consideration like how many units have three people, how many units have a full team. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, they can say, oh, let's not give it to the unit with three people, let's give it to the unit that's more full. But then at the end of the day, it'll be like next month, then the unit with three people get like hit with like four cases just because they haven't been getting them before. So it's like that's still not balancing it out because we're still getting overworked, the people with the smaller unit. So I mean, little by little they say that they're gonna get better, but we just gotta wait it out till we see that.
Okay, so to me, it sounds like your main focus is the balance of caseloads,
Mm,
stress of the parents and meeting deadlines. And, well, you did mention that they are trying to do some positive things as far as um, giving you company cars.
mm-hmm.
It's less stress, I guess, financial wise, in
Yeah.
for you for not having to pay for gas or tolls or putting a lot of mileage on your own personal
Mm-hmm.
vehicle. Um, so you can say that your job is trying, but it just needs to be a better process of
Right. It's
issuing out cases.
Yeah, exactly, and it feels like they hear you the first time and they'll just try to let it go. They'll hear you the second time, and then they're like, oh, okay, maybe we should consider it. And then the more people that keep on constantly repeating it, then they decide to take action. So it's like you have to keep on telling them, keep on telling them, keep on telling them for them to take action and be like, oh, maybe we should do this for them. Maybe we should think about our employees like this way. Maybe we not thinking about how much of a burden this is on them. Let's try to do this. So it's like you just got to keep on like pushing and pushing, and that even that's an effort, even that's a stressor. You know what I mean? So it's like in the end, like they said, they're gonna get better. So just gotta wait it out.
Your job is very important. I want to commend you for what you do. Um, it's a very important job, and everyone is not able to do it.
Mhm.
Um, our time is up for today. Is there anything that you want to speak about that you didn't mention before?
No.
Okay, so I will see you next week.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.